Election season in Canada has officially begun. Again. So Canada actually just had an election in late 2015 that resulted in the election of this guy, everyone's favorite clickbait centerfold Justin Trudeau. But Canada is really like every other country these days in the sense that the second one election ends, everybody immediately starts thinking about the next one, and the campaigning starts earlier and earlier. So the next Canadian election is officially scheduled for October of 2019, but this week was a big deal because it marked the conclusion of the process to pick the two candidates to run against Justin Trudeau. And now that that's done, we get to sit back and enjoy 2 solid years of non-stop campaigning. So for those who don't know, Canada is basically a 3-party system. The Conservative Party on the right, and the NDP party on the left, and the Liberal Party, which is supposedly in the middle, but is really more on the left as well. Justin Trudeau is head of the Liberal Party, and he will be running for his 2nd term as Prime Minister. Most Canadian Prime Ministers win at least 2 terms, and Justin Trudeau is still reasonably popular with a relatively high approval rating, so he is seen as quite the difficult opponent to beat. Let us meet the 2 guys who are attempting to try. Candidate number 1 is Andrew Scheer, head of the Conservative Party of Canada. Scheer is a 38-year-old native of Ottawa, Ontario, though he has lived some of his life in Saskatchewan as well. He has basically worked his entire short adult life in politics and was first elected to the Canadian Parliament in 2004 when he was only 25. In 2011, at the age of 32, he achieved his lifelong ambition of becoming Speaker of the House, the youngest House Speaker in Canadian history. Scheer got married when he was 24 and has not 1, not 2, but 5 young children, all of whom were born during his political career. As you might guess, he is Catholic. He's also very tall, I think about 6'3". Scheer became the Conservative Party's prime ministerial candidate in a very close election that he only won by a tiny margin after 13 rounds of voting. This victory, in turn, reflects the fact that he is a relatively generic conservative politician that all the factions of the party could get behind. He likes tax cuts and Ronald Reagan, he says he doesn't like abortion, but he respects the current laws, yada yada yada. Scheer does, of course, also have some unique and attractive qualities of his own. He has a pretty gentle personality, and he can be quite witty when he wants to be, as we can see in this clip of him dissing Justin Trudeau in Parliament.
Mr. Speaker, the minister thinks that tracking a topic on Twitter is a better way of consulting Canadians than holding a referendum. Hashtag logical. Their motion gives Liberals on the committee total control of the process to fundamentally change the way Canadians vote. Hashtag that seems fair. We know Liberals don't respect Parliament, and now we can see that they don't respect Canadians either. Hashtag arrogance, hashtag out of touch, hashtag disrespect.
But anyway, Scheer's main pitch is, hey, if you don't like the way things are going in Canada, elect me and we will completely change direction. Candidate number 2 is a character you might remember from one of my previous videos, Jagmeet Singh. Yes, he did successfully win control of the NDP party the other day, so he will officially be their prime ministerial candidate in the 2019 election. Singh is obviously immediately interesting to everyone because of his Indian heritage. He is in fact the first non-white, non-Christian major party nominee for prime minister in Canadian history. His parents were immigrants from India, and he is a member of the Sikh faith, which among other things calls for never cutting your hair, wearing a turban, and carrying a ceremonial dagger on your person at all times. Singh keeps his dagger on this big strap he always wears across his chest, or sometimes over his shoulders like a backpack. Since Canada has become a much more racially diverse country in recent years, a lot of people are going to find the prospect of a non-white prime minister very exciting. But what about the man behind the image? Like Andrew Scheer, Singh is also 38 years old and also hasn't really done that much with his life outside of politics. He was a lawyer briefly, but has basically been doing politics full-time since he was first elected at age 32. In addition to the race stuff, a lot of progressive people like Singh because he's more left-wing than Justin Trudeau, in the sense that whenever Trudeau doesn't do the 100% perfectly left-wing thing, like, I don't know, abolishing oil or flipping off Donald Trump at the UN, Singh will call him a horrible sellout fake progressive who's really no better than Andrew Scheer.
Well, Justin, we are not going to just get used to it. We do not accept that it has to be this way. And if you won't stop it, mark my words, we will. We will.
You know, the Bernie Sanders routine. Incidentally, Singh is also the shortest of the 3 candidates at about 5'7". Unlike Trudeau and Scheer, Singh is unmarried and has no children. And then there's candidate number 3, old what's-his-face, you know, the current leader of Canada. In his 2 years in office so far, Justin Trudeau has kept some of his promises but broken others, and I would say the luster is starting to come off him a little bit. People are starting to see him less as a magic man who can make everyone's dreams come true, and more of an ordinary politician who tries to occupy that sweet spot between what is politically popular and and politically possible. This can actually work both ways, however, since the more boring and normal you become, the less risk voters feel about keeping you in power. Pile on the fact that the Canadian economy is doing pretty good right now, and you can see why Justin Trudeau is considered to be in a pretty good spot to win re-election. The biggest variable for him is really Jagmeet Singh. If the media decides to turn Singh into this big global superstar, then he could conceivably start to pull some progressive votes away from Trudeau, which would result in a split on the left that would probably help Andrew Scheer. But it's also possible some parts of Canada will be too racist to vote for Singh, which could wind up helping Trudeau and hurting Scheer. It's all basically this huge, complicated, three-way game theory thing. So anyway, that's where we stand on month 1 of the 2019 Canadian election. Only 2 more years to go. Now, I know I have a pretty international audience, so this might be a tough question to answer, but what do you think of Justin Trudeau's performance as Prime Minister of Canada so far? Do you think he deserves a second term? And what about Scheer and Singh? Do either of them sound impressive? Let me know in the comments. I'm sure this won't be our last conversation about any of these guys.